hot summer lunch. We are doing the hot summer lunch. Hot summer lunch. Hot summer lunch. Hot so ooh, ooh. Hot summer lunch. Hot summer lunch. Hot summer lunch. Hot summer lunch with me. I'm your host. I'm Sietske de Waard. If you don't know me, I am the founder of the House of Mia. And I'm super delighted that you're here and maybe watching the replay. I need to get myself a little bit cooled off. So I would love for you to resource yourself. That's always house rule number one. Resource yourself. It's getting hot, so you need to have a lot of water inside in your neighborhood, so you can get refreshed because this coming actually 4 days is going to be exceptional. I just got off the call with the host, like the guest speaker, and I am like, she was the host from of one of the summits that even gave me the idea to do these launch sequences, and she is willing and able to go on the fucking blow up train with us and share her method on how she got 4,000 participants in her summits, 2K participants in her summits. That was the last one. And I'm like, if you connect, and she's going to speak on the last bonus day, if you connect this whole thing we're doing today with her thing that she's doing today, you are going to be fucking mind blown of what you can make in just 3 months, 6 months, like such a short amount of time. And this is just sinking in these days. I was on a call with her and I was like, this just blew my mind. The fucking ease and intelligence of her way and my way. It's like brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Now, in this first day of the hot summer lunch, we are going to give you the juice on how we were able to create multiple 5-figure sales launches since 2024. And this is mind blowing, right? If you think about the amount of cash flow that you can create with only this tool, and that is 5-figure launches, 5-figure sales launches. It's insane. It's freaking insane. You can make way more out of this than what I did if you master your own scale and combine it with mine. Schatje, wil je de deur misschien helemaal dicht doen? Ja, anders raak ik afgeleid. Ja, dankjewel. If you combine my skill with your own, I know this will be insane. Something that I've never seen. If you put it together, something that the industry hasn't seen. If you make your own thing out of this, that's what I saw this morning when I combined my resources with Emer's this morning, and that will happen also with your own. We are making cocktails. We are making juicy, new, fun ways of creating sales in feminine-led businesses, and that's why you're here. So in regards of this full hot summer launch, at this moment we are doing this live in the Facebook group, as we are doing this so many times. When you got it as a paid offer, some of the things that we are giving here are not going to be for you anymore, like prices and all those things. So here, when you hear us say about you can win this, you can do this, then know that this has been something that I always do. I do always like a free mini launch, pre-launch thing, and then I'm converting it to a paid program. So know that. Hello, when you're here, just say hi. Let me see who is here. Just say hi when you're here. so fucking epic. I am, so I will probably give you heads up. You can win this. You can, if you do this, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that you can win, and I would love for you to call me up on that, is a bonus call with me. I give away two, and that's because when you go on a live call with me, you can blow the shit up like instantly. I just had somebody that was on one of these calls tell me that she basically doubled her revenue in cash flow that she got out of her own lunch with through this implementing one thing from our call. I was like, what? She made an extra 3,500 K, 3.5 3.4K pounds from a strategy that I gave her. And it's so cool and it was so easeful. I was like, what? Are you serious? This is epic. Like two people in a other container and a few in recorded stuff. So I was like, for privacy, I'm trying to make it a little bit generic, but I'm like, what? If you can do this, um, with what we are giving you here, how cool is that? And that's how easy it can be. And so please, if you want to have one of those bonus calls, do the homework, be here live every time, every day, and then you are in the running of this fucking great call. This is for the live version only. When you're getting this in the recorded one and the paid program, then not. All right. Then also, when you share this in your own socials and tag me in it, we have this beautiful promo thing. But if you don't want to use that, that's also okay. Just name us, tag us, then you will receive a masterclass, which really, really fucking beautifully adds up to this one. Because what we are doing here, you can have this with low ticket. That's totally fine as well. But when you combine the power with selling 5-figure offers, it creates the possibility, easeful possibility, to basically get those 30K launches, 40K launches, because you are already having a massive increase in what you are selling, basically through the offer itself. And so that's what I meant with putting your own keys, and you will understand how to freaking blow this up. It's insane. I was saying to Emer, like, oh my God, we're going to make millions out of this. But it's really true. It's really that way that you can really get so juiced up with combining my expertise with Emer's expertise that is coming on Sunday and your own. And if you want to have that art of selling 5-figure offers, it's normally 20 euros in the shop. So it's not like a big amount that you have to spend before you can nail this. So if you're interested in it whatsoever, you can buy it in the store. All right, so let's go down to business. Who is excited to go down for business? Really, let's get down to business. This is something that I think, like, a lot of people talk about energetics, and there is energetics coming in today, but we're also talking how to implement it. So how I love to work, and that's also how this whole business came alive, is to use both energies that you have. That's the whole idea of the art of creation method that we have in the House of Nia. We have the feminine, we have the masculine, both together, and it's boom, right? And so we want to use that scale of having both our feminine wisdom, our pleasure, our aliveness, our juice, our sexiness, our rawness, our emotion, everything that we love so much, and combine it with resources like email structures, all the things that make it concrete, and basically give motion to what you're wanting. So what I started learning with, we have a course called Momentum. I think it's called Aligned Business, but basically it does the same. it is the foundation of momentum. Through momentum, you get an aligned business. I constantly doubt, like, should I make it momentum now or should I do it aligned business? It is called aligned business in our shop. But anyway, the whole idea about this is how to focus our both of our creative energies in the most aligned possible way and make the most out of it. And so it starts with momentum, right? We are building up the juice. We are creating the leadership. We are building up the energetic frequency of what we even want to create. So there is some sort of a energy flow starting, right? You have this, maybe this idea of like, having a 5-figure in sales launch, for example. And that's why you're here. That's why you're like, maybe you have 6 figures. Maybe you have something else, right? You feel like, oh, there's a cool potential in my launches and I want that. And so in that way, there's already starting to blossom some energy there where it wants to be basically directed into something. And so if you have this potential of energy, it's called the life force energy, the eros, or life force energy, let's call it. It starts to open up your bodies, like, ooh, you're getting hot, right? We're getting hot for this idea. And it can be also outside of business. It doesn't really need to be business, but it is also business related. This is the art of creation. You can basically copy paste it to anything, like the ideal dream car, the ideal dream house. I was sitting with this method and I was like, whoa, this is great. Maybe I can manifest my house through this. But I was too consumed with, prepping this. So I haven't tried that yet, but I think that works the same way. I know so, actually. I just sometimes check if I'm not missing your responses here. Yeah. Aimer in the house, of course. So basically that is what we are doing, right? We are wanting to create this fucking epic channel of your creative life force. And in that order, where we are feminine based beings. So we want to stick with that feminine expression as the base of your launching. We don't want to go into the head too much or think it through too much, because in that way, at least from the feminine perspective, you start to get stuck, right? Who has ever experienced getting stuck in a launch? Who ever had that experience that you're like, I'm stuck. I don't know anymore what to do. It's not working. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Who has ever had that? And it's like, oh, maybe you feel like your energy is draining. Your life force is not flowing the way it wants to, and it's like, ugh. And so having that energetic frequency to be nourishing to you, but also like giving aliveness to your launch. That's why it's called actually one of our programs is called Living in Launch, because you are using your life force to create the launch. Now it's Hot Summer Launch. So, well, anyway, but the Living Launch is the method that we started to understand what we were doing in our launches, that it is kind of like, just like the feminine, it flows to the left and to the right, just how our nervous system is guiding us in our most ultimate way of expression, like the feminine, like the radiant, like the blossoming of the heart and the blossoming of the throat and the blossoming of the whole freaking body until you have like this orgasmic explosion, right? And so you want to start understanding that that needs to be a priority. That's why I say, grab a glass of water, be hydrated, stay focused on being nourished inside of your body, because that is the foundation of this method. Stay fucking in your body. And that will be the guidance, how we also share that in the Living Launch. That will be the guidance of the whole process after. Now, in our momentum course, and that's why I want to start focusing on today, because I have started to get wildly interested in the technology behind launching the way I do it. And it feels so feminine to me. It feels so much fun, and it feels so much like there's so much aliveness and radiance. And at some point it starts to pop, right? And I honestly didn't even know that I was very good at launching until I sat before my results and I was like, oh, what have I been doing actually? What has been the technology behind it? And I was like, what? I had multiple 5-figure launches in the last few years. What the fuck? Why haven't I seen it in that perspective? But sometimes you don't see it in that perspective, right? So I would say if we are going into homework thingies, maybe I will just write it down. Homework is sit in front of your numbers, sit in front of your own things that you have been doing. Start to see what you have been doing. How long did it take from going to point A to point B? We're going into that later on, but I want you to start looking at what you have been doing in the past years, what worked, what was, well, we're going to the refinement later, but start to look at your gold, because sometimes you're just doing your stuff, right? And then you are not seeing your own gold. And it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? When you see it, it's like you cannot unsee it and you can work on top of that. And then it starts to really blow up because you anchor into something that works really well for you. And you start to do that more often. And that's how you basically get a bigger result, by blowing up your business, right? So homework, look at your results and claim what worked and your results, basically. So claim it, really fucking claim it, become market leader for it or whatever, but start claiming it, because those processes are probably the exact processes that other people want to get from you. And that's also how your work becomes richer, because you honestly start seeing the value that you're giving to the spaces that you hold in your own work, whether it is hydration, I don't know, like it can also be on embodiment work or art, or I don't care, but it's more about really standing for your own stuff and standing for your outstanding freaking leadership, sensuality, whatever you're good at, go and stand for that, because that is one of the biggest leadership keys, let's say, that helps you to really start blowing things up. If you don't look at the things that really went well, you will see and constantly stay a little bit in the you don't feel like you're moving into a blow up, in a turn on, in a, oh my god, this is amazing, yes, right? There's never going to be like a build up of something. And so I want you to start building on top of everything that already went well, whether it is, I don't know, selling one art piece or having one person in your thing. It doesn't really fucking matter. It's not about the numbers. It's about what is working for you. And so in that way, you start to build on top of something that your natural orgasmic state is really fucking good at. And it can sustain itself. And you see me rotate my hands in circles, because that is basically what happens. It starts circulating energy and you start to feel more amazing, more hot summer lunch. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You start to feel confident. You start to feel fucking sexy. You start to feel nourished in the way that your body gives you exactly what you need, and your energy gives you exactly the pieces and the spaces that you need to open this portal up fully. You see me talking about the portal. We'll go into that later. And that is how you can really boost your own energetic fields. And it starts to also establish that aligned business that I was talking about, right? It starts to create an aligned launch strategy for you. It starts create aligned business results for you, because your frequency is sending out the details on how to freaking do this thing in your own unique way, in the most alive way that is there for you. And that's why I love this full fucking hot summer launch strategy method, whatever, because we don't go into we do go into numbers because I'm hot for numbers. We don't go into right, getting our whole head into the game. Of course, yeah, you think about things, and that is true, but the base stays in that sexy aliveness, and I really thrive on sexy aliveness, to be honest. So yeah, just let me know what lands so far, and we can start building on top of that. Yeah, let's just see who's in the house. I see multiple people live, so cool. Welcome if you're here. Welcome if you're new as well. I'm like, so excited to meet new people here. So much fun. Are you getting hot already? Hot, hot, hot. And maybe you can already share in the chat what really worked well for you, and just give us your juice. What is your juice? What is your juice? What is your juice? What is your juice? Give us your juice. And really become more confident in just sharing what your juice is, and be aware of it all also. I'm going to grab my notebook. I made notes. Yes, yes. It's that kind of life. Okay, so if let's see who's here. Let's say hi. Can I see that somewhere? Can I see who's live here? Hi. This is weird. I cannot see who's live. This is so annoying. I'm so curious. Who is watching me? Who is watching me? Da la 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 la. Okay. All right. So let's go into this because I am super stoked for building up the channel, building up the launch, like your launch basically, but connected to your own radiance. And that is basically, I think, also how not only your launches have more capacity to grow because you have constantly expand your capacity because you're having so much fun, and that's how you can really make your launches bigger because you constantly create more expansion inside of your own enjoyment, and it doesn't become something that is leaking energy all over the place. Because I see when you go directly to here, what you forget is about, yeah, well, you have to have that momentum for a longer period of time. At least that's how I see launching. It's like a period of time. You create a you create a muscle for being in the work, being in the work, being in the work, being in the work. And if that shit drains you, then that automatically creates a block, like a capacity where you reach capacity basically. And so I think it's really important to start there, where you understand that you are the one that is also creating that bigger capacity for having bigger launches and having bigger results. It comes from your ignition, basically, right? If you look at it from a motor, having a big ignition is useful for having a bigger speed and a bigger result and a bigger capacity, or whatever the car ways of talking cars is. I actually started to watch Transformers, so probably the car iteration came from that. Have you ever watched the Transformers? I think it's really fucking cool. Anyway, okay, so let's go in. Unless you have any questions, just make sure you take the most out of my time with you. Like, ask your freaking questions, man. Seriously, you have me now. This is such a unique experience. We're a small group, so you can basically ask anything, and I can give you my ideas about it. What I want you to start doing is stop for a moment, tune in, become still, and just allow yourself to make sure you're here in the moment and tapped into your nervous system, tapped into where you're at right now. You feel your seat, you feel your hands, you feel your nose. My nose is a little itchy, right? You start to notice the now moment. As everything comes from the moment, the here and now moment, that is where everything is created, right? There's no future, there's no past, there is just the moment of now. And even before you make anything, come here, come here, come here, close to your heart, close to your heart. All right? Breathe a little into it until you feel your own sensations, your own tingle, and you get a little juicy, and you get a little bit joy inside of your body. It's like, ooh, I'm excited, I'm alive. Let's call each other home. Bring all your energy back here to this present moment. Let everything of later and the past go for a moment. Just come here and be here, fully present, so we can really start bringing you and your hot, sizzling lunch online. Everything that is still past or like lingering bullshit in your brain or like in your field can go in your brain. Thoughts that are not helpful can go. It's not the place for it right now. Do a little dance, shake things up. Be in your own flavor. Be your own flavor. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for getting the results that you're waiting for? 5-figure lunches. Woo! Who's ready? Who's ready? Who is ready to make some money? Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Okay. Building the first phase out. So we're starting to build out the phases of your launch. So this is prep work. When you create a launch, this is how we start. Basically, what do you put in? You put in the energy of your desires, right? What is the input? Like what do you want? That is the first question. What is it that you want? What is it that you want out of this launch? This is what you put it into the whole channel, right? This is how the channel needs to be set up. The first thing is, what do you want? That is how we start allowing ourselves to get the ideas that match with the results that you want to have. So create inside of the comments, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And that can be like, I want to sit on the balcony having a martini while payment notifications start rolling in. Or it can be like, I want to have like, I don't know, a lunch every day. And I want to have like, I don't know, like sitting on the beach while I hear payment notification coming. I want to feel resourced every day. I want to have 6-figure launches. I want to reach a point where I know that I can maintain a certain structure and I can have 5-figure launches. Tell me, what the fuck do you want? If you don't know that, that's okay. We can start with what you do know. And that is how we start to go and build out the launch phase by phase, because you start noticing somewhere in the process, you will start to know deeper on what your desire is. But the desire is really helpful because it constantly kind of directs the whole launch. And what works really well is like ask your pussy, like ask your desire, the place where the desire is, you know, based. Ask your pussy. If you don't know how to do that, like I don't know, meditate on it. I always have like a connection to it, so I basically connect to it, and I feel like, oh, this would be fun, right? This will be fun. This will be fun. That's a good way to start. This will be fun. This lights me up. This turns me on. This turns me on. What turns you on? And so 5-figure launches can turn you on. Is 5-figure sales, 5-figure cash, doesn't matter. I asked one of the people that I know that is here and is participating, what do you want? Is it 5 figures? Is it multiple 5? Maybe that's why I asked. Is it 6? Sometimes you can think 6 is better, but if you're more turned on with 5, multiple 5, go for that. It's not a like a contest of more. It's basically what turns you on the most and gives you the most pleasure, and that's it, right? It doesn't need to be more than you can carry, because I think that is something that really is not helpful. If it's more than you want, yeah, it's kind of setting yourself up for failure. Now, what the most, I love to look also at the shadows that you can experience when you're in this phase where you start to build a leadership. That is the first phase, create the leadership for what you want, and therefore the aligned actions that come from it. But the first phase is the leadership phase. So print that into your brain. We surrender to our own leadership. Surrender and lead is the feminine and masculine dynamics in the first phase. But if you don't, where did my brain go? If you don't, if you don't lead this thing into the direction of your true desire, you probably will feel that there is leaky energy there. So how I love to look at momentum is really starting to see what it is that you truly desire, what it is that you truly want, and create a leadership on it. Claim it. That's why we started in the beginning. Claim what you want, claim what you're good at, claim your desires, claim it. That creates that leadership that makes your actions congruent with what you really want, and it shapes your aligned launch, the launch that you want. So that is so key. And if you have like leaky energy inside of this phase, you will start to notice that inside of the results. So what can you come across in this phase where we are still shaping what we want, how we're leading ourselves into our next launch? Basically, you are not clear on what you truly want, or you don't dare to stand for it. So a lot of times I notice that people still think in realistic goal setting. Well, we don't do realistic here because it's nonsense. We are magical fucking creatures. We are witches. We are sex magic persons. Right? We are goddesses. Da, da, da. So we don't do that here in a way where it is like, okay, well, based on my numbers, I think I realistically can now make 1K out of this because I just have one person, right? That's not what we do here. Because what we do here is we set our course to what we really want, and we learn to navigate the challenges and the creative input that we are getting from having that desire. So basically, we allow the how to come in to our field. That is the living launch method. We go into that later on day 3. We let the magic come into our field. We let it come to us. We let it come to us how it wants to be created, but we don't fucking dilute our possibility with what is reasonable, because it sucks, right? It takes out the speed, it takes out your creativity. If we look at it from a creative perspective, like, what's the fun in, I'm thinking about, do you know this Bob the painter? You have this paint by numbers by Bob something. It's like, if you are an artist and the only thing you can do is like a mapped out painting by numbers, I think you will be bored so quickly, and I think you will not really get your artistry out of it, because you never will tap into the potential that you have. And so I want you to become more fucking honest with yourself. This is so much about honesty. And sometimes it's scary as shit, because the first time I said I wanted, actually, the first time I said I wanted 6 figures, I was in front of my coach and I knew it was ridiculous, because I was like, I actually want 200 200,000 out of my company. And I was like so afraid for rejection. But it took me like the moments of both clarity, but also claiming. You need both. You can have clarity and still not act on it. But when you claim that that is really what you want and that's what you're going for as well, those two need to be in place. This is in Soul Strategy. This is in Soul Strategy in one of our programs. We are basically, I'll just put it here. We are basically, oh, wait a minute. Soul Strategy. We are basically teaching you how strategy comes from both your desire and claiming that desire, where the strategy comes from. And so claiming your desires, whether it's so ridiculous, it doesn't matter. And also, like, in the thought of it, it can also be like you think it's ridiculous and you think it's impossible for yourself to claim, for example, I want to get like pay in fulls, like I want everybody to pay in full, like stuff like that. That is so much fun, right? See, like I think launching, when you look at launching from the perspective of manifestation and see what can be possible, like what the fuck is possible? This is so fun. Like, what would I want to play with, right? Start thinking about, what do I want to play with? Also, homework. What do I want to play with? What do I want to play with? Is it painfuls? Is it, I want to sit on the beach and everything is done for me? Or like, what is an absurd thing where you're like, this is stupid? I knew somebody that was doing a launch, and she had like a prize for herself, that she wanted to buy some sort of a luxury car if she nailed her launch. And I think she did it. I don't know what her result was, but she bought herself like this, let's say a Jeep. I don't think it was a Jeep, it was something else. She bought herself a Jeep because she basically nailed the launch. And I was like, damn girl, this is so much fun. It can be like, I want to have a ridiculous amount of people in my things. That's why we have Emer here as well, because she had like 4,000 people in her seminars, right? Everything is possible if you stand for it, because when you stand for it, you stand for it until it works, right? The living launch process is the way where you stand for it and you don't get out until it works. And that is here. That is where you need to be locked in. You need to be freaking dialed in, locked into your leadership, because you will need it when things are not going your way. And definitely they will go. You can do retreats, you can do all the things, right? But also spice it up a little. Go to your edge, go to something that really was like, what? This is great. Oh, who knows what is coming out of you. So cool. But yeah, this is where everything starts to get so fun. Please share a little bit about what is going on your side. I always love to see what is the juice on the other end of the numbers. I just see numbers. So yeah, like really allowing yourself to fully recognize your own power also. This is so much about understanding and realizing. Well, and it's also quite vulnerable, right? To really build on your own heart and to acknowledge to yourself something that is ridiculous and seems, well, let's say, seems ridiculous when it comes to what the rest of the world is doing. So it also can be a process of being very vulnerable with your own heart and, really seeing like, is this something that I can do? Is this true? Like, is like, I've never seen this before. Like, can I? And so in this perspective of this, like, I have been last year, I've been so disconnected from what I was doing at that time. And I was like, I want to do pre-recording only for this moment. I want to do pre-recording. I want to be like, I don't know, like a pre-recorded person. I want to do products only. And I don't want to launch in the way I know people launch with all these live calls and stuff. I didn't want to do it, but I really wasn't sure if I could and if that was possible, because I saw all coaches doing a specific business model, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And so you can come, especially when you're longer inside of a niche and inside of some sort of a professional setup, you can start claiming can feel really vulnerable, especially if you don't see anybody else do it. And I'm so happy and lucky that I have people in my corner that always applaud me. But if you have something like, use us, use this group. We will light the fuck up. We will light you the fuck up. Or like, we will bring light to you. We will bring all the light to you. Like, just ask. I don't want advice. I will just want light. Because people, they would just want to have their own they want to talk about themselves and what they think works best for them. Okay. Okay, in regards of this first phase, is this clear? One thing you can also see in this first phase is the whole idea is that there is a dynamic that creates motion, right? So we have surrender and lead. You can really see the leading comes from God and your surrender, that can be, and the leading can also feel, and I feel they are both, and the leading can also be, I know what I want, I'm claiming it, and I am surrendered to it. One of the things or the shadows that I also see, if you want to call it a shadow, but what I see as a constraint in this phase is that you have said to claim it, and then you are not able to surrender to the leadership of it. Because sometimes in this whole process, especially when you look at it from a living launch perspective, you get these outrageous ideas and you are like, I don't think I can follow through, right? I don't think I can follow through on this spark that is coming from your eros, from your aliveness. I don't think I can follow through because this looks insane. And so, one example, for example, I asked the person that is speaking on Sunday. I was going to this doesn't really matter. I was going on a walk and I was like thinking of what would be like, just like processing, like processing the day. And suddenly I started to have this feeling of, oh my God, it would be very cool to have her into the launch, or like combine this. Maybe I can ask her on Sunday. Oh my God, I need to ask her on Sunday. And I also need to ask her if she wants to email her email list, because I know she has like multiple thousands on her email list. Oh my God, I'm not sure if I can. It's a little bit bold, isn't it? Yeah. Doesn't it sound a little bit like quid pro quo, or like a pre a pre like somebody with a hidden agenda kind of thing. It didn't really come out of me that way, but I was like, it sounds a little bit, sometimes you can feel like somebody wants to take something from you, right? Because they want to use you basically. So all these things came up and I was like, no, I think I can trust myself. And yesterday I was like, I hope she says yes. I hope I didn't fuck it up. And I was like, oh, this is really my brain. I know. But yeah, it's also exciting for me. It's really fucking exciting for me this way. I felt there was sometimes there is this power in your decisions that seemingly seems like it's just asking somebody, but behind the ask, this is important. Pay attention, please. Pay attention now. If you haven't been, do it now. Your decisions put into effect a lot of consequences that this yes can create this whole new leadership. It can create this whole new structure. It's the yes to all the consequences that come after. So give yourself a break if you think things are exciting, because probably they are. They are exciting and they are like, oh my God, this is like, it's blowing up. Sometimes you can really feel like, oh my God, this is blowing up. This is blowing up. This decision will really accelerate a lot of things, and it will put into action a lot of things that I've been wanting for a long time. And I think that was one of those moments. I know now because, I know, I know. And yeah, like all of that is so super normal in launching periods. And so I really want you to take ownership over that. You can have downtime, and that you can have this really soft way of approaching yourself, and to have nourishment, and to have like just take care of your heart. Your heart is going through such a especially when you do it like this, it's going to be vulnerable in a way, because you're leading also more from this place and from your pussy, but also from your heart a lot of times. And it's sometimes really scary to be that open. This is really a method that like needs you also to be open, because it comes from that creative expansion and that orgasmic state, and that is coming from openness. So give yourself a break when things are getting scary, and opportunities will arise, and they will feel like, wow, fuck yes, amazing, and also scary. So give yourself a fucking break, have fun, and just like play. Come back to play whenever you're bored. Okay, how are we doing? I think those are the key elements with the first part. What do you want is the first phase, and you have to get clear on what you want to get out of it will inform all the rest. And then we start to build out structures for what we want, right? Let me see if basically said everything. And it also determines your positioning. And it's fun about launching, because every launch can have its own energy and its own play and its own mastery in it. And so I love, now we're doing a lot of these things, but it's nice to see the launching can take its own form when you're also again looking at it from the method from the living launch, that it is really mastering the wildness of your launch at this moment in time, at this launch specifically. Of course we have methods for it, but it's also like being genuinely connected to the truth of what you want to get out of it. It will create a new embodiment period. It will create a new technology within how you have been launching and what you want to get out of it, and new experience. Also, this is also really about the experience of the launch itself, and you can play with it. So yes, this is great info, by the way. You can create this like more emotional, what do you want to get out of it, what's your desire on the emotional level, but also on the result level, and then you have both of them. Maybe you have like, oh, this time I really want to be in my soft feminine and like full. Well, probably there will be coming something out of you that makes sure you are staying soft, right? You will get all the challenges that will allow you to see all the spaces where you haven't been soft, right? Because obviously you, well, that is how life works, and business also. If you want to do it from this space, it will be like this accelerator on your personal development, and that's why your like locking into your leadership is so important. Do you have any questions? Give me the juice. Give me some like hearts and whatever. Let us know your heart is in your receiving, and what you are receiving. That would be great also to hear. You look gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. So appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, like where are we at? What do we feel? Is there anything that comes up? Light bulbs? Your your desire, what you want to create out of it. If you have a certain launch, then you have in your mind, then if you share it, then we also know how to better give you value out of this call. So because your input will give me an idea of how you can do it, and somebody else's input can give me an idea of how they can do it. There is no one launch that is the same, even though your technology can look the same, but it's different. All right, let's go into the second phase. Is the I call it the eros and the conductor. So we have like a phase where you really need to kind of structure, like create the structure, create the system, create the creative, like the structuring your launches in a way that feels most juicy to you. Now, this is really key, because in the way of creating seven figures, for example, if that has been your launch strategy, or like the biggest, the vision, or the biggest idea of your, let's call it the vision of what you want to get out of it, in that way of creating seven figures, you still have a lot of nuance you can put into the machine. So we're creating the launch machine, right? You have a lot of nuance that you can get in. So for example, maybe you don't like working on the evenings, so you want to block out your evenings. The calls cannot be planned on the evenings then, right? So you want to make sure that you are provided for, so you have enough juice and energy to keep going and to really stay in a launch until it's done, because that is really basically how you create what you want, by staying in it, and don't go out until maybe your desire is out of alignment. That can be, but otherwise it's just a, you basically pull out of your leadership because it gets unsustainable, right? I have so many of these elements where my launch became unsustainable. I stayed, but in hindsight, I was like, this is not sustainable for a next time. And so that is something I talked also again to the one that is doing the summit. I was like, oh my God, the moment when I think about the launch that I was doing, that was the summit. I created a planetary wealth summit last summer, and we had like 300 participants. It was great. Oh, but when I think back of it, and when I'm, oh my God, when I'm connecting back to it, I was talking to Emer and I was like crying. I was like almost, I felt tears coming out of my my body because it was so hard. It was not set up in a way that is really fucking juicy. And so that also has had to do with the team and stuff. But yeah, like if you want me to focus on that, just share, because I can give you some details on that also. We were like, I worked with a team at that moment, and we had like, oh, the dynamics in the team were not helpful, and we basically said, we like our team, well, I can share a lot of things, but it kind of depends a little bit on like what is needed. But so yeah, if you want me to share a little bit more details on specific things that I'm saying, please share it also, because then I can direct my energy a little bit better. But in general, like wow, I work with my best friend and my partner, and then I basically had a totally different way of how I wanted to set up the launch in comparison to my best friend, which was basically also on the front end of the challenge. And I basically waited for her to be ready to launch and stuff. And that was 2 weeks before the actual seminar. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to start already a month beforehand. And I didn't want to focus everything there because I knew it would be so much work. And we had like a period of 4 weeks. I also went in between. I was so cool because I was doing it. I still do. It's really cool, but it was kind of like, how much do you want to stretch your capacity? I flew to America, had a jet lag, mid in the middle of the challenge, or the festival, let's say. We had a 2 week festival. Every speaker, we had 30 speakers. Every speaker was doing a live. We were also doing live calls in the morning. Every morning, one of us, or my best friend or me, like we're doing like a live workshop. It was fucking intense. And after, I was like, I think I'm getting burnout symptoms. I need to stop. This is not good. Like, yes, working together with my best friend was not the combination. Even though she's very good at business, but it was like, oh my God, no. And then having so many live setups in your launch, it was horrible. I talked to Emer again, like, this is Emer Shine time, and she has like this brilliant way to take out all that live stuff and be way more wise about, hey, I can see, oh, this is great, I now see that there are responses here. It was intense. um, and the intense thing, maybe I should finish my sentence. Where did I go? The intense thing was also that we had so many speakers, and basically we had to make sure, and they were from all over the world. I think this is really nice, all those details, right? They were from all over the freaking world, so we had time difference stuff, and people did not always show up in the time that we want them to show up, because we had time difference, and it was kind of like confusing for some people. We had people pulling out, pulling in. I don't know what everybody was doing. It was like, oh, horrible. It was. We had a VA. She was new, and then she was like thrown into the game. She was also a big time difference to us. So when we were ending, basically, she was either not awake or like, it was horrible, horrible. So we could not really instruct her well because the time difference was so great, and that didn't align in the way we had set it up. And so understanding and hearing me talk about all those moving elements, when you're in a launch, you might not know about all these things that will start to happen when you set out something like having 40, 30, 40 speakers in a 1K event. That's how our idea was. Our first phase was leading this whole thing into, this is great actually, leading this whole thing into a thousand people speaker, like 1,000 participants thing with 40 speakers. That was the original idea. That's what we wanted, and we wanted to have like sales from that. So that's how we basically designed the thing. But through all of this I had a trigger on my best friend. So basically, I had like a sort of a rejection and a sort of a wound of people leaving me, because I thought like, okay, if this goes sideways, I hope I'm not losing my best friend in the process. So I was constantly, and I have daddy issues, let's call it that. I have really, like, my biggest trauma in my life was my dad and I don't have contact. So that has been like a big, and my like my lover, my which I thought was my love of my life, basically dropped the ball on me and ended things suddenly. So my whole body is obviously programmed in, people can just leave and just disappear from your life when something goes sideways, or you are having a major fallout, or major fallout. That was the thing. So it was like a hell. It was a hell. And throughout the whole launch we refined it, obviously, because we saw what wasn't working. So we come to that as well. There's nothing lost if that is basically what you're setting up, and it's not how you want it, because sometimes you just don't know. You don't know what is going to happen when you haven't launched in that big way, or you haven't launched in a way that you are setting out to do so. And so obviously you will start seeing things that are not working. And that's why we have phase number 4, which is the refinement process and getting your needs met. So that is a cool thing to look forward to. And that is why we have the living launch method, which basically ends in having your needs met. And that is the final phase of launching, where your needs are being met. That is the core method, where the dynamic of the feminine and masculine. So we call it the subdominatrix, which basically says you are in submission, but you are basically inputting how you can stay in submission, or how you want to be, how you want to be in submission. Yeah, I think that is basically the thing. If you look at it from a feminine masculine polarity kind of game thing, and you look at it from a submission and dominatrix kind of perspective, at some point, or all the points, like, you're not going to in submission if the whole thing is not how you want it to be. And so that's why there's this essential way to keep your feminine alive, and to keep your emotion and your eros basically online, is to, like, refine the process. So your sensuality and your openness is still there, and you're still in radiance, and you're still in aliveness, because you need it to build up the whole launch, the end. And so the end is, hey, getting what you want, getting your needs met, like the daddy's giving what you want, right? Kind of the dominant is giving you what you want, and you're being cared for. And you can look at it from a God perspective, but also what do you want to get out of the launch, and you're being provided for, right? So in the end, it is basically, when the whole thing is refined enough, it will give you what you want. It will give you what you want. And so that's why we say, don't go out until it's done. And otherwise it is not giving you what you want, because you build. And so please don't do that. And that is something that I still see a lot of times, that people do that. And sure, for the sake of refinement, I say yes, go do it, because I'm not also sometimes the launch that I set out to do, and I do have those experiences where I set out something that is in my brain really cool, but then at some point I get bored and I don't really know how to spice it up, and I'm basically lost my interest. Okay, that is possible. But I think the nuance here is you have the authority yourself to spice things up and make it interesting for you and make it joyful for you and make it as fucking wild as you want. And so in that way, you basically know how you can turn up the dial on what you really want to, how you want your need, how you want your needs to be met. You have the dial, you have your hands on the dial in that way. If you don't feel expensive enough, if you feel things are too slow, if you feel that there is something that needs to happen to make it more exciting for you, well, okay, then put that into, put that back into the input of your launch. So in the beginning, we said, how do you want this launch to be? Somewhere in the middle, you can start to see like, but I want it that way. And so you put that into the launch energy, into the launch energy, right? And then basically everything, the actions that you take from there, the refinement that you create from there, will start to make those adjustments so you are getting your needs met. And in that way, you start bringing in more and more and more and more and more details on how your launch needs to be or need to happen in order for you to feel the most radiant and alive and having your needs met, basically. And so in that way, your eros, you heard me mention in phase 2, eros and conductor. That is, the conductor is like the structure, right? The structure, or the systems where your feminine can basically feel most alive. That's why I love systems. We have the soft feminine, the soft flow systems for feminine CEOs. That's why it's there, because in our softness we can give the most, we radiate the most, and there's more flow in our from our sensuality, from our erotic side, when we feel there is something holding us. And that's why it's so important for you to know that there is a structure underneath you, where it basically means that you don't have to be on all the time. So if you look at it from that planetary wealth launch, where I was on all the time, well, that's not great, because I could not just sink into it. I could not relax. I could not, right, receive, like, feel really nourished inside of my launch. And so from that perspective, I'm not surprised that it didn't give any sales, because if it would have give any sales in the way that we set it out, and that's also energetic protection, right? You're getting something that you cannot or don't want to put into action. And sometimes failed launches also protect you to a nervous system overload, or something that you actually don't really want. And so always when I see things are not working in my launching, it is good. And I don't say that to create some sort of a belief that it is, you cannot be sad or disappointed. Yeah, sure. And if you look at the systems, if you look at how you put it up as a launch, and maybe the offers and everything that you put in, is this really what you want? And if the answer is, I don't really think so, then it's a good thing that that didn't work, right? It didn't work because probably when you look at it from a longevity perspective, that would have hurt you and the company. And so that is not something that you want to basically keep in your company. And in that way, when you start to look at expansion as a way, and things that really match that essence of what you want to put into the launch, and you use refinement to tweak the whole system, you will start to have like this sort of a machine. It's like the hot summer machine, launch machine, right? It starts to feel so effective and so fun. And from that comes this glorious energy of like both fun, both radiant, both alive, and also having results, because that is in the same providership. We're not only looking to having a launch that feels good and basically doesn't give anything. No, we want you to get results, right? So it is really good to stay focused on what is it that I want? What is it that I get out of this? What is the result that I want to get? What is the number that I want to get? At some point, you also will start feeling inside of your body that you don't feel expansion anymore, because the numbers don't add up. And so we want to create this spicing up the energy. When that happens, if you feel like things are not adding up to what you put into the system, the launch mechanism, that is because you are not seeing the things coming out of it as you want it. And so if you feel like start going into that, start doubling down on, okay, this needs to have my refinement, and I need to get into the details, looking at my numbers, looking at my systems, looking at what am I putting in this machine. Okay, we need to spice it up. There are this many participants coming, there are this many sales coming out of that. What do we need to do? And let your brain basically come up with all these juicy ideas that you can do to spice things up and to have more fun and to have more play in it. And so maybe have more gateways for people that to come into your spaces, to come into your products, to come into your sales. So allowing yourself to set up your business, you launch in a way that is really helping you to thrive, basically sets you up for a nervous system regulation state, a way of launching that really feels juicy, but also has your needs met. Inside of the structure, how is it going? How do we feel? Do we feel like this is a lot to absorb? Where are we at? So I'll just check here. Where are we at? Where are we at with this? How do you feel? Where are we at? Are we having fun? Are you getting things out of it? What is going on? All right, so what can be happening inside of this erotic aliveness and the conductor of this phase, basically the conductor energy, where strategy, structure, systems can hold that erotic aliveness to stay open and radiant. Well, what can happen is that you are not setting up your launch show from that conductor's point of view, the masculine, let's say. What can happen there is that you're not setting up you're not listening to what you need in this process, and basically screw yourself over by putting in the systems that are not working for you. And so, for example, when you know that you don't love to work in the evenings and you're still doing that, well, that gives me the idea that you think you need to because other people tell you to, or everybody is doing that. And so, or you don't like the platform you're on, or you are not using email at all, or you feel like you're constantly I don't know, need to do everything manually, or like you have no automation set up. All of this is really the structural side of things, and you basically haven't created a system that really works for you, like the Planetary Wealth Summit is such a good good disposition of that. I think when we're talking about failed launches, like the numbers were adding up in a way where there were 300 people inside, which is fucking great, right? But it was like, oh my god, it was so hard. It was so hard, and so in that way, it wasn't a success to me. That was not a success, and it was like emotionally, it was like a failure for me. But not a failure, obviously, because you can learn of everything, so nothing really is a failure. But when you look at it from a perspective of having the most life fun challenge, that wasn't it. It was just very hard, let's say. But anyway, like we had really structural mismatches. I started to notice that I cannot be both facilitator, both the person that is holding it, both somebody that is doing all the emails still. So I didn't have a structure where I could lean in. I didn't have the team set up in a way where I could lead in. At some point in week 2, we did have that. We started to add sort of summit angels to the whole process, and that was really great. But it was really hard to basically hold so much in one breath, like in one. If you look at it from a perspective of job description, if you look at it from a job description kind of standpoint, it was way too much. It was way too much for me. I was both producer, both the initiator, both the person that was creating the lives. I was also doing nervous system regulation because of the trauma triggers, and then email setup. It was horrible. And so in that way, you notice that the structures that you created for the launch was not in place, and that is not really helpful if you want to retain people into the next. There was no system to basically create enough sales. The focus on sales were taken away because our team wasn't set up great. So there were structural things that were missing, which both meant there were no sales at the end for something that you put all of your effort in. That is also something that I see with a lot of people. They are not having a sales machine in place. They are not thinking about sales and what this launch needs to do for their sales. And so the results stay off because you haven't put that into the process. So there might be this whole idea of a big launch, but then you're not selling. Well, yeah, like go figure that there are not as many sales maybe as you have wanted. And yeah, that's it. And so in this whole idea of this phase 2 is like allow yourself to set yourself up for success. Is there sales? Like, do you want, like, how is the sales structure? Is there a sales structure? How is your sales being like, is it there? Is there some sort of a sales mechanism inside of your summit? Have you set up your summit in a way where it's naturally leading people from one thing to the next, and people understand why they have to get that out of your summit, right? So is it for people clear that there is a structure? We are going into this tomorrow, by the way. Is there a clear pathway for people to go into the things that you actually created this whole freaking launch for, right? Is there a way for people to submit for a bonus call if you want to do that? And that is a whole thing in and of itself to check what kind of sales process you want. And that is, again, how you want it is important for that. So don't put in sales calls if you don't want to do that, but find a way of sales that really nurtures you as a person and basically is effective for the whole freaking launch, right? So all of this is so really essential if you want to have 5-figure launches. Well, is your launch set up to create that? Are there offers in place? Are there things that people can buy from you? Is that offer already, yeah, like, can you sell it off the shelf, or what is going on in that sales process that makes it into a sales machine? Have you thought about that even? Like, that could be also a thing. Have you thought about it? What is set up already? Have you set up the sales structure? Have you set up the emails? Have you set everything up? Have you set up your launch in a way, if you look at it from an artist perspective, because I also know that artists are attracted to me, like, do you have like an exhibition? Are there price tags? Do people know how to contact you if you want to sell your painting, for example, right? Is there like a website where people know how to contact you? Is that through the manager, or how do people actually come to reach you if they love your work? Is your work representing your era at this moment, or did you actually wanted to do something else, but you thought that would sell better, and so that's why you did that, right? So all of these things are really structural changes that you can make within your launch to make it more like you love to be in your launch, and it also creates the sales that you want. So not only focusing on being juiced up and blah blah blah, but also, is it going to help me get the fucking sales? Is this set up? Is there a sales mechanism behind it? If there is not, that is your homework sales engine. All right, how are we feeling? What is coming online? What do you feel? What is alive? What is cooking? Let me know in the replay or in the comments or wherever. Let us know how you feel. Yeah, that's so intense. Yes. Okay. Let me see. In the, yeah, okay. All right. Honestly, I think we can go deeper into it, but I know that tomorrow we are going all into sales, and oh, wasn't it like sell like a beast? Sell like a beast, sell like a beast. So I will leave it to day 2. Maybe I should put it somewhere. Give me 1 second. I will put in. I will find out. All right. Even kijken hoor. Let's see. All right. Then, if we look at it, when it comes to, I do want to write it down because I think I will forget. Just a second, okay? Whew, whew. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. And it is also, we are already in this for like an hour, a little bit more. Okay. So maybe resource yourself, get some water and stuff. Get yourself resourced so we can get hot for the next phase. Okay. Resource yourself. I'm gonna resource myself. I'm going to get some water. Oh my god. So, all right. My juices are flowing. Like, funny to see, like, yeah, your close up. Okay. Yes. Maybe the picture was too close. Let's see, babes. Okay, if there's something in between that you wanna share, just do it. No, you can. Oh, but I always like make my outfits. Ah, damn it! I do it again. Okay, so how are we feeling? Because I think what I want you to understand that we are creating a sales machine, and basically the input is your erotic aliveness, right? That is the engine, that is the ignition, and we are creating a sales structure and basically a machine around your aliveness. So the living launch is basically creating your launch setup around your aliveness, around your radiance, around what you love, what is so beautiful for you to receive, for your feminine to allow into your structures. One of the things that basically, well, also is a shadow is, again, if you don't take your erotic nature, I think this is really true. Like, if you don't take your erotic nature, your eros, serious, and you bulldozer over her, you bulldozer over what your biggest asset is throughout launching, that is that you feel nourished and alive, and you take breaks, nourish yourself, take yourself serious, basically. Let your juices flow, let your erotic aliveness come alive throughout your launches. Not bulldozer over her. I think that is something that I would love for you to like invite you into. Like, how are you treating yourself during launches? I think one of the things that made me really stuck when I was having success in launching, yeah, maybe I got that was like back in 2020. I got people into my stuff, but I felt so burned out at the end of it. Also in that one other one, but that was slightly different. In the in the beginning when I started this in 2020, I had, oh my god, I was sitting against a tree. I had this moment of, please God, give me, like, show me what I'm missing, show me why I feel so crap, even though it seems like I have results. Because what happens if you're, well, you feel burned out, basically it's not sustainable, right? So you cannot keep going, you cannot create another launch like this and another launch and another launch, and basically this doesn't become really an effective way of positioning yourself and doing the launch and doing the thing, because it's not sustainable. And if you really want to scale to, I would say seven, eight, well, six also, but six, you can even create six figures with not, well, launching constantly or not being that much into launching. I think I basically, if I say it right, when I had six figures, I think I did these kind of things like every quarter of a year, maybe. I would have to track it, but I think some moments in time I just was completely off. I was like, I'm done. And I was starting to refine at the back end and doing refinement stuff and making sure I was going to blog bigger the next time. But I wasn't having like a constant in my business because I didn't really have a sustainable launch strategy, which I do now. I feel at least I want to see how long this is being sustainable for my energy. Not saying that you have to do it specifically as but I think if you want to have bigger results, Well, I mean, yeah, like I want to claim that this, I feel like this is getting me to eight figures, that it has the possibility, especially when I'm connecting. I have this idea now. Let's say I have this idea, and I think I can have eight figures out of this really cool sales machine, which is fucking cool, right? But if you are honest with yourself and you see constantly that you are uh, hating what you're doing, hating how you're doing it, you're not treating yourself great, and you're not taking care of your erotic power, which is the engine of a lot of things, and your creative power as a woman. And so I would really want you to start being more secure with your eroticism, with your nature, with your power as a woman. Treat your erotic power well. Let yourself feel juicy, let yourself feel fun, let yourself be nursed, let yourself be spoiled by the people around you, by your clients, by God, by having it the way you want it. And so, hello, Emer. And so really take care of your erotic nature is one of the biggest key points. So let's go into what is so important when you start really scaling to six figures, multiple six figures, seven, eight, all the juice. Having your needs met in your eroticism, having a structure that holds you, combining those two, bringing the power of resourcing and your erotic nature online, and having a structure that basically helps you sustain that erotic nature. If you are being like, ugh, then it is not really working for your energy. If you feel like your structures are not supporting your feminine, it's not going to work. So we need to have flow into our launches. And that is also how the whole launch is going to accelerate, because you will start to notice, and this is also a nervous system state kind of thing, when you are in your feminine power, which is overflow, in that brain state, are the most epic ideas come from that state of having a big processor, brain processor online, and really getting those insane ideas that seemingly are super unrelated. Like, for example, I was in Imar's seminar like weeks ago. Uh, yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I think. So, like in my brain, I wasn't linking her necessarily to this launch, but then because you're in this open state of receivership, those kind of epic freaking um, ideas come through, and you're like, what? And then from that comes like the eruption, right? It starts to build on itself, and it's like, what? So also when it comes to having crickets at first, or not having your lunch the way set up, the way, or like the results coming in the way you want to, don't pull out, because that is just a build up. We have a build up phase, right? So when we go into the number 3 phase of launching, is that understanding that we have a build up phase, and we have the sort of a pre party, the pre energy, the priestess, like the pre something, the pre-sale, the pre-launch, if you want. That is a period where people that are already ready to buy, already ready for your energy, are coming in anyway. They're like, yes, 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 yes. So there's a pre-party, right? And so you can basically nail already this pre-launch, pre-party way of setting up your launch in a way where your launch is already giving sales in the pre-runner of it. So for example, what I'm doing right now, and I'm obviously refining things, but what I used to do and still do now, and it works quite well for me, is, for example, if you have a freebie, or if you have something, um, yeah, let's see. You want to go into that now? Well, yeah, like I'm focusing now, I think, on how to set up your launch in a way where you get the most out of it. Okay, so bear with me. This is also when you start selling masterminds of 15K, that is the same process. Okay, so in the launch period, what I do most of the time is I invite people into something that can be like a freebie or like a low cost thing. I think this is not necessary because I know that I have created big results without those, but I will go into that later. But anyway, like in the beginning, okay, just have to see. Yeah, this is the one. Just sometimes checking like battery, microphone. Okay, to maybe change my microphone. I will change my microphone just in case because I know it's like it has a battery of like 1 hour. Just a second. Oh, damn it. Okay. I'm just not sure if you can hear me. Let me see. Hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello? Okay. It's working. Just in case everything just collapses and because I have been on this too long, just one moment. Make sure the battery is staying on and stuff. Pre-party. Yeah. In the pre. Oh, sorry. Tits. Tits. In the pre-launch phase, yes, you can want to sell masterminds, and I think you can directly, if your audience is hot for you. I think that is something that you can do. If you feel like you can do that, that is okay. But I'm just sharing the things that have worked for me, and what really works is doing some kind of a pre-thing, like pre-sale, pre-blah blah blah. So people, when you when you are into something, it like if you are totally into something, and the dynamics here is being an open channel for what you receive as idea. So everything basically, if the first two phases are set up in a way where it is super straight, it's clear what you want to get out of it, it is set up in a way where you can lead yourself through it, the structures are set, the sales is being honored, there is enough room for juice, da, da, da. So you're basically can focus on what is important, which is the phase where you basically launch things, right? So you basically are ready to rumble and go into selling and become a beast at your launch in whatever way that is your setup of your launch. And so whenever there is this pre-phase where there's this warm up, basically, also the other people that are not you, people that are in your world, they basically don't know anything yet about it. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time for people to sink into the energy you already are. You've been working on this, and then you're like, it sometimes takes some like warm up. If you look at it from like a erotic perspective and the sexy time, right? You also have warm up, right? You have like this foreplay. It's like foreplay, and still, like I think, well, this is something that I could also like make even bigger for myself. But it's like the warm-up phase is where people are really getting into the zone and into the play yourself. So it's like, hey, there's something beautiful coming up, da 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 da, right? But it's also like pre-sale. So for example, how I do this, or like pre-sales, or something that spices up the energy in the pre-phase. The pre-phase is maybe a beautiful word. Is that I already give people ways of going deeper into my work at the beginning. So yes, they can have the launch, but they can also have like a small masterclass already. And so in this way, you're already, even before the whole thing starts, you can already let people go deeper inside of your work before the whole party even begins. And that is something that you can just experiment with and have fun with. But how I do it is basically give people an opportunity to sell, so to buy something that is in relationship with what they're already wanting to experience from you, so they can already go deeper inside of the work that you're giving. And in that way, you're already prepping people to go deeper and to land easier into the work that you're giving, and basically allow people to quicker be ready to go further with you, to go into that thing that you want to sell them into. And so there are smart ways to do this, and there are endless ways to do this. You can have like a pre-launch party and like all the bells and things, but you can also do it different, like in a very like a lean way, and basically give one upsell and that's it. That's also okay. Or you can create a whole email sequence, and you can create a whole email sequence, or you can already in the flyer, when you are basically selling art or doing something with art, you can also this is also something that you can do offline. But anyway, you can already put some like how to deeper experience your work kind of things. Like this might also be fun for you, right? So linking it to things that give people a taste of your work in a deeper way. And after that, is there more to say about this? Yeah, probably, yeah, but for time's sake, we have already been jamming for like 1 hour and 45 minutes. The amount of play that you can already put in there is so insane. You can do the whole Instagram like pre-launch thing and like start playing, right? It's like when you go into like this pre-party of, for example, I've seen somebody do that. She does like, before she goes to a concert, she turns the whole experience into like a sort of her own launch, and then basically does a pre-launch on something related to that concert. It's kind of fucking fun and genius. But it's like when you think about a pre-party, right? You think about how you arrive to an actual party. Well, most of the time it is to get into the vibe of the bigger thing, right? So that can be like in so many ways. It can like have fun with it. Always my advice, have fun with it. And you can really nail this thing. And I think when you nail it, you start seeing how that can support the rest of your wait a minute. How that can support the rest of your sales. Because when people are more warmed up, you already, like, people don't have to land in your launch anymore. They basically are ready, right? They are ready to rumble. They are ready to party, and that makes it hot at the start of it. And so in that way, you can, if you nail that, I think it will amplify and boost all these sales of everything that comes after, because they know you and they trust you and they get what you're giving and they understand what your work is about. And so all of that you don't basically have to do anymore if the pre-party is arranged in a really fucking great way. And the people already have arrived, right? So people have arrived and they have arrived. They have arrived. They have arrived. They have arrived. And so everything you do after is just going to be so much more strong and so much more powerful if you let people sink into your work already at the start. And so also here, babe, please use this technology with the technology of Emaar in the summits. Summits are fucking awesome and a great fucking sales opportunity. And if you already set up your pre-emails and pre-stuff towards your ecosystem, then people are like so much more into your work and what your work is about. So both the summit will probably be stronger and both your message will be clearer and both people are more ready to buy. All right, so let me see, because we have the pre-party, we have the big party, and then we have the blow up, which I love. Yep, I love. Focusing sales in all of the phases is super fucking epic, and I think you should really go into what does it mean for my business to have my pre-party set up. So homework, phase 3. Yeah. If you are selling high tickets, if you are really wanting people into your 10K, 20K, 30K, you are asking people a very big commitment that people are very willing to give to you. I know that I have been giving my 27K commitment to a mastermind in such a short period of time. It was like a few weeks, honestly. It's insane. I think it was a few weeks. And so how I would say, like, how I see my launches build up, it can come from a really small sequence where you set it up so specifically that people are ready to buy your big stuff, well, almost instantly. I know I have been able to, well, let's get a little nuance here, because I have been operating in this way for years, so I don't know exactly obviously what made somebody join, as some people have been following you for years and so on and so on. But I think, like, with the mastermind that I sold in the launch that I've done, and where we basically started a launch, I got some ideas for how to build this launch out, and then actually selling this person, the mastermind, which was 15K. That was in a course. I knew her, so to be fair, but more as a colleague kind of thing, or like a friend kind of thing. But when she entered my work until she bought, I think it was 6 weeks. So I know I can do this in 6 weeks. Bang, 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 bang. My brain is like, ooh, poo, poo, poo. I love that. It's like sinking the embodied experience in a little bit deeper. I know I can do that in 6 weeks. And so if you know that you can do it over a period of time, then you can basically refine the whole sales process on that, right? So you can basically make sure that you have these sequences within your sales process where you lead people from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, until they end up into your thing that you want them into. And sometimes people are really interested in buying things from your low tickets. That is super possible. And sometimes people need bridge offers, so an offer that sinks them deeper into your work, like I said before. And that's why it's so good to have this pre-party stuff going on, so people are already more into your work and their body is more receptive of what you're giving. But honestly, like seriously, I've seen people sell like me. I've went into this mastermind where I had almost no experience of the work except for maybe a few, like seeing this Facebook group that I was active on and people talking about stuff, seeing some people in that I knew, so basically friends were in there, so it kind of created some sort of a community sense. And then I remember that I bought a ticket, so that helps obviously because you have people's financial commitment to you, going into maybe a few courses where I was like meh. And then God, I think I call it God, I'm not sure, like my mom told me, like this God interference, right? I said, I want to be in a mastermind. I was doing this experiment in the Miracle Makers marketing where I just shared what was on my heart. So that is really cool for you to experiment with as well. Share what is on your heart and leave it up to God to determine how it's coming into your field. And so there was a moment where I just shared that I wanted to be in a mastermind. And then my mom said like, hey, maybe you should listen to a podcast while you're on the airport. And I was like, I never listen to podcasts. Why would she say that? I was like, but I remember that I wanted to watch a Zoom call thingy, or like I wanted to be in something. And I was like, maybe I should watch it, you know, maybe I should be in that. And I went there and I heard people speak about the community. I was like, shit, I think I need to be in this one. And so it took me a week to kind of like come to the space where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. We'll see. And that created this sale for this person. And it was like fucking intense because it was like 5K entry into the mastermind. I didn't have it yet. And I was like, okay, I'll just find resources. And I did. So also there, it's like not even an objection if people don't have the money yet, because they will find ways if they are wanting it. All of this, I think that was in a time span of like 2 weeks, maybe. And as a result of that, I can see how quickly things can escalate, right? I see how things escalate so quickly. If you are so determined to, this is what I want to get out of the launch, this is what I want to have as a providership, which is the next phase, and we'll go into that. That is something that you are going to get if you stay in it long enough to get it. And if you don't pull the plug out, as we said before. Inside of this, there's obviously the momentum of the big event, the warm up, the warm up for what you're selling. People basically need to get to know you a little, and they get a taste of what you're selling. And I love this way of this mentor. She once said like, build out your taster in a way where they get, how was it again? No, that was about this is how, what she told me about the five figure selling, and how she put up the structure of what she was selling, and it sounded so ridiculously simple. I was like, wow, give somebody a 10x promise on what they are buying into. So for example, if you have a 15K offer, promise them that you can bring them to 150K. If you don't have that kind of, like, basically 10x the investment that they are giving to you, 10x that's with the promise that you are delivering to them. So that should be basically the framework of your high ticket sales. Are you promising them 10xing? Are you promising that they can 10x the result of what they are investing in you? If that is a yes, then give that in the launch itself. Give a taster of a small piece of that result, and then basically warm them up for the big results that they are getting. And so, for example, to make it really plain and simple, if I have a 15K mastermind, can you promise that they are getting the result of 150K value? Whether it is you're focusing on health, whether it is on art, whether it is on sexuality, because for somebody, the value of having a lifetime partnership with the love of their life, that's worth 150K, I would say, right? And so in that way, if you're selling something high ticket, are you giving them more than what they are paying for? Are you giving them that much value? And if so, can you get one teeny tiny bit out of that full I'm like, hey, I have to think about this deeper. If you get this teeny tiny of piece, and you give them a taste of what it can taste like to have like 150K result, which we're obviously doing here as well, because the Orgasmic Brand Collective, the full artistry, like the turned on artistry method, the full artistry method that I created to create a turned on business and to create 6 figures in sales, right, as a mastery. That is what the whole academy is for. And so, and doing that on repeat and speeding up the process, that's the phase where we are in right now. So having 5-figure launches, having multiple 5-figure launches, that will soon result into 6-figure launches, 6-figure results. At least 6 figures will come out of having launches like that, right? And so if you want to go into the full extent of what the academy is all about, then we would focus you to Orgasmic Brands, which is the academy, which is everything from business setup, foundations in business, sales. We have marketing strategy. You already heard me talk about soul strategy. We have Miracle Makers marketing, everything on marketing. We are in a phase with Business Blow Up, where we basically show you how you can blow your business up in 5 days. We have the launch strategy, how you can make a 5-figure summer. There is so much gold there. You get like 36, maybe even more courses on how to build out your brand into 7 figures, 7-figure leadership, and beyond, honestly, because I think we are prepping ourselves to create the launch methodology to build out 8 figures in sales strategy, and maybe even cash, right? So there's so much wisdom there, and I'm unable to present everything that is in 36 courses plus within a time frame of a few hours. And so if that is of any interest of you, there is this full course library now for 15K lifetime access. And what does that mean? You have the lifetime access. You can access it anytime you want for what is inside there and now until the end of the year. Everything that comes in there will be delivered to you, and then it's kind of like that is what you're getting. Or like, let's see. Okay, I'll just keep it like that. Everything that you're getting is coming in there. After today, I probably will do your buying into it, and that is what you're getting. And everything that comes after is extra. But we'll find out the details. You will see it on the webpage. But this is the most incredible teachings that I have been giving over the past years of experience. I started in 2020. I'm still in it for the long game. We are operating now in a way where we want to create 7 figures, 8 figures, and so in sales in our company, and probably, multiply it to cash. And so in that way, it is so generous in the art of artistry, especially, and creating a sales infrastructure and architecture around your artistry, and around being and feeling radiant, and around feeling alive, and being super expensive, and feeling like you are not only creating a business but also a life worth living. And so that is all also in there, where there's focus on lifestyle first, and really creating a lifestyle that is helping you to bring out the vision that you have for your life and your business. And so, yes, to impact, but not at the cost of your life. Thank you for this, and for witnessing me, and for listening so long. I want to go into the art of, being in the rest of the phases later, I think. Let me see. As this has been already a 2-hour call, and I'm worried that I am not able to basically save it. And I think we've got covered now phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 partially. We have the pre-game and the middle game, and we are going into the rest later on. Probably today. I'll have a check with my partner if that is okay. Otherwise, I will do it tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you there.